Hello everyone. It is January 26th, 2021. It's Tuesday. It's Harp Tuesday. Welcome to this week's episode. Major or minor? No, but I got a comment on a video recently and I thought it would make a question, and I thought it would make a good topic for today's episode. So the question was, on harp, how do you play a major chord or a minor chord? This person knew on piano what you did to change from major to minor, but what do you do on the harp? And interestingly enough, on the harp, you don't do anything differently with your fingers. So if we have C, E, G, it's a root position triad, a C chord. Right now it's C major, C minor, so in either case, I'm playing the exact same three strings, the same way with 3-2-1, same technique. I don't do anything differently that way. It's the levers, or with a pedal harp, the pedals, that make the difference between major or minor. Otherwise, it's the exact same thing. So if you see, if you want to play a C major chord or a C minor chord, you do physically the exact same thing, which is kind of cool. And so that's the short answer, but I thought I would dive a little bit deeper into that. Why is that a major chord? Why is that a minor chord? What's going on here? And so, of course, any two notes that we play could be considered a chord, right? That's one definition of a chord, when we're playing two different notes at the same time. But a lot of chords can fall into a category of being a major chord or a minor chord. And so here I'm going to be focusing really on a particular shape, a triad, a root position triad, which on the harp is actually really easy to find, right? It's skipping every other string, 3-2-1. So C, E, G, D, F, A, E, G, B. Those are all root position triads. And those chords are major or minor chords. And both major or minor chords are made up of those three different sounds, three different notes. So that this C chord, C, E, G, we could play a C, an E, and a G. That's a C chord. We could play any two of those. C and G, that could be part of a C chord. G and E, that could be part of a C chord. It could be part of other chords as well. But if we play those three notes in any sort of order, it is a C chord, unless it's, well, again, it could be, if it's a major or minor chord, it's a C chord. If it's like a ninth or a seventh or diminished or augmented, whatever, it could be some other type of chord. But the vast majority of chords in a lot of music are just pure major or minor chords. So with that shape, this is, as I say, a C major. But if we lower the middle note, the E, down to flat, that's our C minor sound. Well, why is that? Like, what? Sure, maybe we can hear the difference, but why is one major and why is one minor? So for that, it's actually much easier to explain at the piano. So come along with me and let's go check that out. So here at the piano, here's that same C major chord and the C minor chord. And in both cases, the relationship between the bottom note and the top note are the same, what's called a perfect fifth. But it's that middle note that makes the difference. And one way we can look at that is to count the half steps between each note. So this scale, right, this sort of westernized scale, has a total of 12 semitones, half steps, per octave, right? So here's this C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Back to the C again, 13, counting the beginning and the end. And each of those are an equal distance from the previous one. So this A is vibrating at 4/440. This B flat or A sharp is approximately 6% higher in pitch. And by multiplying each preceding half step by 6%, by the time we get to an octave, this note is now vibrating at twice the frequency. It's vibrating, or sorry, here's A440 up here, sorry. this one up here is vibrating at 880 and 220, etc. So the math works out nicely. It's kind of cool that way. And we can use these half steps then, equal sort of, each of them is equally a little bit higher in pitch than the previous one. And they're the building blocks. So we can see that from here to here, if we count all of those steps, including this first one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or we can say it's 1, 2, 3, 4 half steps higher, right? Here's where we started, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is what's called a major third. Kind of has a happy sound. Again, that idea that major tends to have a happy or triumphant or joyous sound, and minor has a sad sound, or melancholy, or potentially ominous. So we have these 1, 2, 3, 4 steps above our starting note, whereas this chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3 above the starting note, so only 3 half tones above. And this is called a minor third. And then we can also look at the relationship between this note and this note, or this note and this note. So from here, 1, 2, 3, it's the same as this. It's a minor third. Whereas from here, this E flat, it's actually a major third. So this triad then is either a major third with a minor third on top of that, stacked together. That creates a major chord, a major triad. Whereas a minor third with a major third above that, that creates our minor chord. And so that relationship will hold true throughout. Here we know that this is an A minor. And so 1, 2, 3, yeah, there's our minor third, and 1, 2, 3, 4, there's our major third. And if we raise this middle note up, we get our A major chord. Minor, major. And this also helps explain why, if we're in the key of C, in this case, just all the white keys, here's our major chord, D minor, and we can count 1, 2, 3, right? This is 1, 2, 3 above. E minor, F major, right? Those are 4 half steps above. G major, A minor. Oh, here's this weird diminished chord. And what's interesting here is minor third, but also minor third. So it's no longer a perfect fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 half steps above. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 half steps above. This tritone, this is called a tritone, and it tends to lead us to want to resolve it. So this chord, minor third, is 2 minor thirds on top of each other. And what's really kind of interesting, and sorry, outside the scope of this episode, but still, if we add a minor third above that, that gets us our lovely diminished chord, and that's minor third, minor third, minor third, minor third. Oh, we started on a B. We're up to a B again. Sorry. So that would just repeat over and over, minor third, minor third, minor third, stacked on top of each other. and is again a very, very sort of leading chord. So let's get back to the harp. Cool. So, but what does that mean? What is the takeaway from that? Well, let's see, a couple things. So first of all, one of the nice things on the harp is that some styles of music and some pieces, the only chords that they call for are ones that are inherent in that key. So a lot of traditional Celtic music, for example, if you're in the key of C and they call for an A chord, the piece will call for an A minor chord. So if you're reading from a lead sheet, for example, where it has a tune in the right hand and it has chord symbols for the left hand, and you see an A chord, it will probably have a little M after it to show you that it's A minor. And it turns out that if we play an A chord, that root position triad shape, or any combination of A, C, E, it will be minor because we need to move our C up to sharp to have a major. And of course, on the harp, visually, we can't see, like we could on the piano, that there are only those 3 additional half steps above the A before we get to C, and we need to raise it up to make it a major sound. But we can hear that, right? We can hear that. And so if you're lucky, it becomes really easy on the harp in that sense, because you see a chord symbol and it doesn't, in that sense, matter whether it's major or minor. You just find that shape or whatever type of chord shape you're trying to find, but that the levers have already taken care of whether it's going to be major or minor. How do you know, though, right? What if it's not? What if they haven't? So one clue, of course, would be is if there were an accidental. If suddenly we had a C sharp being played in the right hand, and we had an A chord, we wouldn't have a little M after it, an A major chord, then seeing that accidental in the right hand would help maybe make you think, I maybe need an accidental in the left hand as well. I need to do something to make it the appropriate sound. And of course, trusting our ear, training our ear, and paying attention to whether it's supposed to be major or minor, so that if we're playing along and we see a G minor chord, we're in the key of C, we see a G minor chord, and we hear that and wait a minute, I think that sounds major, right? And then we can think, right, so let's see. Yeah, that's major. How do I make it minor? It's by the middle note. I lower that a half tone. So in that sense, paying attention if you're playing from a lead sheet to what the chords are supposed to be. Are they major or minor? And seeing if that matches up with what you're hearing. Now, of course, the more that you play, the more you'll start to build also a model of what are the major and minor keys, chords in any particular key. So if you play a lot in the key of C, you might likely know that a G chord is going to be a major chord. Just kind of know that immediately. And if you see a G minor, right, that's not part of a C scale, the key of C. I'm going to have to do something about that. And of course, you can study that. You can if you work through all the chord progressions of each key and go to a different key, okay, now we'll go B flat, maybe, and again, it's always that same pattern, 1, 4, 5, B, if we're in the key of B flat, B, E, F. Let's get it right, there we are, B, E, F, B chord, the E chord, and the F chord will be major, and the relative minor of B is G, so the 1, 4, 5, the G, C, D will all be minor. And the 7th one up, there's our diminished chord, right? There's that tritone. So you start to build an awareness of that, and you can always, again, just go to the piano if you need to figure it out and count the half steps between them. And one final thought is that in all of this, you'll notice it's that middle note of a triad, often called the third, right? Because this is 1, 2, the third string up. This is the 5th. Here's 8, the octave. It's that one that determines whether or not, if this is a perfect fifth here, that middle note will tell us whether it's major, whether it's major, minor, or major. So if we avoid it entirely, we're actually kind of this indeterminate state. We could be major or minor, right? Schrodinger's chord, so that this C, G, C, right now, in this key, it's a C minor, but because we're not playing that E, it could be C minor, or it could be C major. The surrounding notes will tend to make us hear this, so if we've been playing a bunch, our ear will fill in that, oh, it's an E flat, I've heard an E flat, I kind of somehow am aware of that key, this sounds minor to me. Whereas if we've been playing somehow sound major, but it's actually the same notes, right? C, G, C. So that's why one of the reasons why that 1-5-8 shape is such a common accompaniment shape, because among other things, it leaves up in the air whether it's a major or minor chord, because it could be major or minor, either one. Same as open fifths. Again, skipping that third. So kind of a useful little hack or something if, say, you have that C sharp going on in here, and it's supposed to be an A major chord, but you're in the key of C and you don't want to do a bunch of sharp changes down here, just avoid that C in the left hand. Sounds like an A major chord to me, right? And yet, we still got that C natural down here. So just a useful thing to keep in mind. So I hope that's made some sort of sense and potentially been useful. Certainly interesting, I think, how just the mathematics of how everything fits together. And hope you're doing well. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Cheers.